YouTube is a massive platform for creativity where people create masterpieces and take actions worthy of attention, but unfortunately, some creators misuse the right to free expression, producing content that can harm children. James Bear, a rising art creator with nearly 350,000 subscribers, couldn't hold back and confessed to one of the most disturbing sins. He taught his 9-year-old sister how to play football. Let's put it that way to avoid shocking YouTube. But now the real question is, how did it all happen? Let's rewind a bit. James used to run a typical animation channel, creating a web series set in his own universe, but it didn't gain much traction, so he launched a new series featuring a female character based on his girlfriend Claire. In this series, he focused a little too much on certain parts of her body, often portraying her in an uncomfortable and objectifying way. The attention came fast, but so did his biggest critic, Aaron, who dropped a massive expose on his former friend. Most of the document was rambling nonsense and baseless claims, but one part stood out. A private conversation between James and Aaron, where James talked about a disturbing connection with his younger sister. He tried to justify it by blaming depression and bullying from his father. If you pause for even a second, you can't help but ask, what does depression have to do with committing one of the most unforgivable acts imaginable? Let's be real, there is no excuse. Now, you might ask, what if it's all fake? You'd be surprised. Twitter doesn't let you delete messages from the recipient's inbox, and James didn't even try to deny it. In fact, he admitted to it, broke up with Claire, and walked away from the relationship entirely. Then, as an adult in 2020, James faced another scandal. Leaked Discord chats where he openly confessed again. Soon after, several old acquaintances came forward, saying he used to tell this story to just about anyone who got remotely close to him. Naturally, James couldn't come up with anything better, so he went for a full public confession, claiming the incident only happened once. His defense, he was underage at the time, so according to him, it doesn't count. What? Of course, the post didn't stay up for long. It was quickly deleted. At the time, hardly anyone knew about the situation, and the real wave of cancel culture didn't hit until mid-2022. Fame had clearly gone to his head. The money was rolling in, the audience adored him, and then came a post from an art creator named Lalo. She gathered all the key details about the incident, laid it out in a short and straightforward format, and made it clear she wanted James canceled. The backlash came quickly. James once again tried to defend himself, repeating the same excuses he'd posted before, instead of staying silent or fully owning up to what he had already admitted. He even uploaded a video where he, yet again, confirmed the relationship and tried to justify it. Then, on September 9th, 2023, a document titled "I'm Tired of Staying Silent" surfaced. It was written by a girl named Alicia, who claimed she was James's sister, the one at the center of it all. According to her, the abuse continued all the way up to 2020, but perhaps the most heartbreaking part, when she finally told their mother about it, her only response was criticism, brushing it off with something along the lines of, "That was so long ago, just forget it." Later, Alicia would go on to say that none of it was true, that the story had been fabricated, and her family suffered deeply because of the fallout. James himself wasn't done facing consequences either. His ex-girlfriend came forward with her own story, revealing that he had stalked her on social media, created a fan account dedicated to her, and even posted inappropriate content involving his drawn character Clarissa, supposedly portraying her cheating. James claimed she had been unfaithful during their relationship, but no matter the excuse, his actions were beyond unacceptable. For this, he earned the reputation of one of YouTube's most disturbing creators. Not long ago, he finally released a video where he confessed to everything, apologized for his behavior, and brought an end to what had become a nearly decade-long circus of lies. But not all creators are problematic. Some truly earn their place in the spotlight. One such example is GHS Studio, led by a talented South Korean animator. She began her career with light, trend-based animations, covering hits like Among Us, Friday Night Funkin', Poppy Playtime, and more. But she didn't stop there. She quickly realized that sticking to one formula would grow stale, so she started producing a mix of short and long-form videos, as well as original vertical content, many of which went insanely viral. To this day, the studio stays in tune with its audience, knowing exactly when to shift styles or jump on new trends to keep things fresh and exciting. The studio earns its income through channel monetization donation, and notably, there are no links to donation platforms in the channel's info, a big plus for their reputation. They don't ask for contributions and seem genuinely committed to creating free content for everyone to enjoy. The creator doesn't list individual artists, nor does she put her own name in the spotlight. As mentioned before, she presents the project as a collective, a true studio, which is honestly very cool. I even came across a few posts where she was hiring, promising a welcoming environment and a cozy personal workspace for new team members. Looking at the content as a whole, it's purely entertainment, free of anything harmful or sexual, and in today's internet landscape, that alone feels like a rare and refreshing gem. Engaging with the audience is also one of the most important responsibilities for any public figure, and GHS Studio does it incredibly well. They genuinely appreciate fan art, comics, and funny memes from their loyal followers, often reposting them on their official page. All of this paints a picture of a studio that truly cares, and in my opinion, all these factors make GHS Studio a genuinely awesome project, one that fully deserves every bit of success they've earned. Unfortunately, there are also some really poor examples of how creators treat their audiences. One such case is the Italian animator Shappy Sway. Despite only being on YouTube for a short time, he's already built a reputation as one of the sleaziest figures in the animation scene. Let's start from the very beginning. Nearly all of his videos are filled with crude humor. Think jokes about butts, adult activities, awkward teenage experiences, and even oddly framed father-son relationships. He brushes it all off by saying it's just the characters' ages or his stance on the LGBTQ+ community. How convenient. The real problem? This kind of content isn't being consumed by adults. It's kids who are watching, and whether he admits it or not, he's actively harming young minds with this kind of material. You might say, well, it's not his fault. Parents should watch what their kids are doing, and you'd be right. Here's what the creator himself had to say. He suggests that it's up to adults to limit their children's screen time and control their access to content, so that kids don't end up watching material meant for audiences 18 and older. Fair enough on the surface, but here's the catch. Shappy himself refuses to mark his videos as 18+, not even for that small percentage of younger viewers who still manage to find his channel. There's even a post where he claimed he does mark his content properly, but surprise, that post was quietly deleted once people started calling him out. Things escalated when larger YouTubers like Ryth, Glider Guy, and others stepped in. Once Shappy started gaining views, they quickly reacted to his content, now pointing out how harmful it was and questioning his overall stance. That didn't sit well with Shappy. He began messaging the creators who criticized him. For example, he publicly promised not to issue copyright strikes over people expressing their opinions about his work. Spoiler alert, he lied. It didn't take long, and on April 9th, he filed a strike against Ryth, claiming defamation, profit from his image, and unauthorized use of his content. Luckily, YouTube moderators weren't buying it. None of the complaints were upheld, but Shappy didn't stop there. He tried to smear Ryth's reputation by posting so-called exposés. Here's the thing, YouTube doesn't care about personal drama. They care about clear, documented violations, and once Shappy was warned that false copyright claims could get him banned, he quickly backed down and dropped the threats. Ryth's team decided to give Shappy a chance to explain himself and invited him onto a live stream, and that's when the real battle began. For nearly 2 hours, Shappy tried to claim that all the posts, complaints, and copyright strikes hadn't been made by him personally, but by his lawyer. Naturally, no one believed that. Throughout the stream, he continued making questionable statements and throwing out weak arguments that fell flat. It was a mess, and he fully earned the cancellation he received from the community. Dude Danz, real name Danz, was born on July 27, 2001. He holds a degree in business management and studied at Brigham Young University, Idaho. His YouTube channel launched in 2022 and gained popularity at lightning speed. At first, viewers were split. Some loved his art style, others criticized it, but let's be honest, the work he puts in is truly impressive. His series follows Danz and his assistant, Snad, all set to trending TikTok sounds, a creative blend that struck a chord with audiences. The creator is incredibly open with his audience, regularly posting polls, discussing video ideas with fans, and genuinely making his community feel heard. And he's a huge Lego fan. I mean, who doesn't love Lego? I love Lego. In fact, he even included a heartfelt message of encouragement for fellow creators in his channel description, a small gesture that shows just how much he values even the smallest voices in the community. Oh, and he also produced a game called Color Block Jam, a fun Lego-themed puzzle that's honestly pretty engaging. But hey, we're not here to advertise, so let's get back to the main topic. Dude Dan's is a genuinely likable creator, someone who brings only positive energy through his work and his connection with the audience. He's earned the title of a cool YouTuber in every sense. Telepert is the creator behind a channel with over 2.5 million subscribers and a massive fan base on Patreon, though his reputation is a bit more controversial. Let's start from the beginning. He first joined the platform, posting short sketch-style videos with his own drawings, just aiming to improve his art. At that point, it didn't seem like he had any real plans to turn YouTube into a money-making venture. Years passed, his animations became more polished, and the channel began to grow. But so did the level of sensuality in his content. It gradually turned into something resembling a digital magazine centered around a beautiful female character, grabbing attention more through visual appeal than narrative. Naturally, YouTube didn't take kindly to that shift, and age restrictions started rolling in. Oh, YouTube. Now, to be fair, everyone has the right to express themselves, as long as it doesn't infringe on others' rights or well-being. But for many, Teleporte's content felt overly erotic and borderline inappropriate, and that criticism is valid. Some of his characters were heavily sexualized, no doubt about it. Still, if you look at his full body of work, it becomes clear that the intention was never to harm or offend. What you're really seeing is the evolution of an artist, someone who started with stickman animations and grew into a skilled animator exploring complex forms and stylized human figures. However, controversy eventually caught up with him. According to circulating rumors, the creator allegedly offended minority communities, which sparked a wave of backlash and accusations of transphobia. Whether the claims were fully grounded or not, the outrage was loud enough to damage his public image. Due to YouTube's strict content policies, he eventually had to shift much of his creative output to Patreon, where he now shares his work behind paid subscriptions. And honestly, it's hard to blame him. This move was largely driven by the preferences of his own audience. Many still praise Teleperte for his top-tier animation quality and sheer dedication to the craft, something I've also recognized. But despite all the technical talent and fan appreciation, the backlash has left him with a polarizing reputation. So that brings us to the big question: is Telepert truly a great animator and creator? That likely depends on where you draw the line between artistic freedom and social responsibility. Technically, absolutely. He's grown tremendously as an artist, but morally or culturally, that's where opinions start to split. And finally, the cherry on top of our showcase is SpaceBalls and their massive space-themed project. In just 3 years, the channel has skyrocketed to nearly 2 million subscribers and built a loyal fan base over on Patreon. The creators behind the channel are Alvaro Calme and Oliver Gilpin from the UK. What really stands out is the respect they have for their team. They've credited every single person involved in making the content. That alone speaks volumes about the kind of project this is: thoughtful, transparent, and community-driven. Their friendship laid the foundation for entire animated series centered around the planets: the Big Bang, the First Planet, the Moon Revolution, the Battle for Planet X, and more. What makes them special is that they don't exploit their audience or ask for anything in return. They clearly understand who they're creating for, and while their content is entertaining and humorous, it also includes real science, teaching kids to love learning in a fun, engaging way. No scandals, no drama, no messy ownership splits, just consistent high-quality content. They found the perfect balance between production value and upload frequency. They even launched a line of plush toys and collectible cards, giving fans a chance to support the project and feel like part of the SpaceBalls family. Sometimes it feels like creators like this are becoming rare, but seeing how much they care, how much heart they put into their work for us, the everyday viewers, it keeps my hope alive. Hope that clean, honest content still has a place in this world. What do you think? Do the creators we talked about today truly deserve their reputations, for better or worse? Make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Rocky Raccoon is a creator with nearly 4 million subscribers who draws anthropomorphized animals in a very strange and often twisted light. His content consists mostly of simple shorts with trending music and little to no real meaning. Due to YouTube's monetization rules, he doesn't earn revenue from the platform, but he still makes money through his Patreon. Much of his content subtly promotes themes aligned with the LGBT+ community, and for example, this video right here. And by the way, the continuation is conveniently available on his Patreon. It's pretty obvious that any kind of trendy character animation tends to attract a mostly young and immature audience, who end up consuming adult jokes and content they're not really ready for. Unlike Shappy Sway, he doesn't try to defend his content. Instead, he mocks those who call it harmful or inappropriate for kids. And it was exactly this kind of response that pushed critics to start digging deeper and looking for more hidden or questionable details about him. Illustrations of the main character from the movie Turning Red, who, according to the story, is only 13 years old, were turned into explicit content by the creator, all for the sake of promoting his Patreon.
Buy a subscription.
Now you might say, but it was just one time. What's the big deal? Yo, alright, let's go with that. A character of a little girl from the series Squid Game, yep. And once again, the motivation was to promote his paid platform. At the time, a small creator with just 3,000 subscribers openly criticized him. And in response, Rocky left comments like, "Try doing what I do, but I'm sure whatever you make will be complete garbage." On top of that, he publicly defended a 40-year-old fan who was sharing inappropriate artwork featuring underage characters. He even launched his own merch line, but it failed to take off, mostly due to low audience engagement and backlash during a live stream where people kept bringing up the incident involving his defense of that 40-year-old fan. In the end, this is the only thing everyone remembered.
The Squid Game dog was basically doing the Jacko pose to, in any way, like the Squid Game doll. I also did not.
He's earned a seriously negative reputation and is widely seen as a problematic figure. But in the end, it's up to you to decide whether or not to watch his content. Now, let's move on to some more positive creators on YouTube. Animators is a creator with over 8 million subscribers. His real name is Bryson Julian Rasmussen, born in 2001. Just a regular guy who built his channel from the ground up. He makes simple videos about his life, personal struggles, and funny stories, all told in a lighthearted, humorous style. There's no harmful content, no shady tactics to push people onto paid platforms. His entire channel feels like a personal diary where he shares moments from his life through animation. Back in 2018, his early videos were already pulling in massive views, most notably one titled School. Bryson makes a real effort to stay connected with his audience, often sharing his experiences with animation and project creation. He also streams regularly, and just recently at VidCon Anaheim 2024, he talked about how he started with simple sketches and eventually built a full-fledged studio, an impressive accomplishment for someone his age. I'm genuinely glad that in today's world, so many creative individuals have found a space to grow and thrive. In that same VidCon Anaheim 2024 interview, Bryson also took a moment to thank his team, the people behind the project who helped bring everything to life. Together, they've been working on graphic novels and YouTube videos. Back in 2021, the team launched their own merch line, which now includes plushies, sketchbooks, clothing, and more, all at surprisingly affordable prices. What really stands out is that Bryson never gets involved in drama. He only collaborates with genuinely kind creators like The Amazing, The Odd Ones Out, and others. Probably the most bizarre creator I've ever come across is Meat Canyon, an American YouTuber with over 8 million subscribers. His real name is Hunter August Hancock. Outside of YouTube, he's also active on TikTok, does streaming, and even performs as a comedian. His animations are satirical parodies of famous YouTubers, streamers, and TV shows. What really stands out and haunts you is his animation style. It's the kind of stuff that sticks with you, and not always in a good way. Honestly, watching his videos for the first time, you'll feel both disgusted and oddly impressed. I wouldn't call it bad by any means, but it's definitely not something you should be showing to kids. In March 2021, Meat Canyon released a satirical animation that took aim at Mr. Beast, mocking his videos by highlighting the idea of profiting off sick and vulnerable people. Naturally, Jimmy wasn't too happy about it and even left a comment expressing his displeasure. Boing Boing described the video as a sharp comedic sketch tackling the theme of moral gluttony in the pursuit of popularity. Some viewers saw the video as a clever piece of social commentary, while others felt it crossed the line into being overly mean-spirited. Personally, I find this kind of content to be quite intense, and it can have a seriously negative impact on children. Honestly, even I was left a bit shaken after watching. It's freedom of expression in full force, but not always in the healthiest way. I can't say I dislike the creator, but I'm definitely left with some very mixed feelings. The Land of Bogs is a cozy and creative animation project by creators Brent Sievers and Liz Hickey. It started out as a small experiment under BuzzFeed's animation lab, but quickly grew into something much bigger. The main characters, Bogo and Bo, are two simple, charming figures used by the creators to explore everyday thoughts, anxieties, and joys with humor and kindness. The project began with short-form videos and quickly found success through YouTube Shorts. By 2022, the channel was pulling in tens of millions of views per month, all without relying on toxic content or paywalled gimmicks. Everything about it feels personal, heartfelt, and deeply relatable. The team consistently puts out 2 videos a week, focusing on minimalism and emotional storytelling. It feels like an animated journal where every emotion is genuine. In 2021, they launched their own merch line featuring plushies, t-shirts, and stickers, all designed in the project's signature style and offered at affordable prices. At VidCon Anaheim 2024, the creators shared their journey, talking about how their small animated series grew into a full-fledged studio. The project intentionally stays away from drama and only collaborates with like-minded creators. It's one of those rare corners of the internet where you can simply smile and genuinely feel seen and understood. Bella the Wolf is arguably one of the most controversial figures in the animation community. She's an American creator known for her gotcha-style animations and short videos on YouTube Shorts and TikTok, with around 96,000 subscribers on her main channel. However, her entire presence online has been built on mocking religions, most notably Jesus and Allah. In some videos, she even went as far as shipping them together, which understandably outraged viewers whose faith is a central part of their lives. The backlash was immediate. Her comment section were flooded with angry responses, and the audience quickly moved to cancel her for what many saw as deeply offensive and disrespectful content. One of her critics, a creator named Ziported Gamer, publicly spoke out against her videos. In response, Bella allegedly got offended, tracked down his phone number, and leaked it online, pretending it was her own. Bella even had the audacity to take a jab at Technoblade, a beloved Minecraft legend, something that crossed the line for many. There were several other incidents too, honestly enough to fill an entire hour-long documentary. The Odd One Out, aka Robert James Rallison, is a popular YouTuber, animator, cartoonist, comic book author, and voice actor. He first started out with webcomics on Tumblr back in 2012 to 2013, featuring a simple marshmallow character art style and short humorous strips. Much like The Land of Bogs, his journey began way back in 2014, making him one of the early pioneers of the animation scene on YouTube. Most of his work falls under the storytime animation genre, minimalist art, relatable humor. While a few people have criticized some of his older comics for mild racism or off-color jokes, he's never really been involved in major drama. Fans mainly appreciate him for his sincerity, wholesome tone, and his ability to tell real, personal stories. For me, he's the blueprint of childhood YouTube, someone I watched for years and genuinely enjoyed. And now I'm curious, which of these animators do you think deserve or don't deserve their reputation? Let me know in the comments. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel.
And again, I'll repeat it for the idiots. You don't deserve an apology for being groomed.
Camila Quavas, an animator with over 1.5 million subscribers, defends her friend
PDF file
and calls her audience idiots, becoming one of the most disliked animators in the Undertale fandom. Wondering how it got to this point? Let me tell you. A Chilean artist, animator, and YouTube creator. She was born on May 13th, 1995 in Chile. Her real name is Camila Alejandra Cuevas Zapata. She rose to fame through her fan animations based on the game Undertale, and later gained recognition for her original projects as well. It all began in 2015 when she started posting fan art and short animations based on the game Undertale. This eventually led to the creation of an entire animated universe called Glitch Tale, an alternate storyline inspired by the original game, but with its own world building, drama, and action. All in all, it's worth mentioning that the legendary Underground is about to turn 10 years old, and it's given rise to fan-made masterpieces like Stronger Than You, ECHO, A Beautiful Day Outside, and tons of other content based on this iconic game. But let's get back to Camila. The first episode of Glitch Tale was released in 2016 and quickly went viral. Camila didn't just copy the world of Undertale, she created a full-fledged animated saga with original character development, new heroes, and a dark, dramatic atmosphere. Many fans consider it the best Undertale interpretation on YouTube. By 2020, Camila had reached a peak of success, earning widespread recognition and the love of her audience. Around that time, another creator named Hopeless Peaches came into the spotlight due to ongoing struggles with her mental health. She had a pattern of posting provocative tweets that read like goodbyes, which caught the attention of a commentary YouTuber known as Prison Mate Luke. He released a video accusing Peaches of manipulating her audience with these tweets. Camila Quavas joined in, publicly supporting Luke's take and accusing Peaches of lying about her mental illness. That same day, Peaches released a shocking document detailing a past collaboration with Camila, in which they worked together on a video and a poster. However, Peaches received no compensation and was upset that another creator was profiting off her work. The conflict seemed to be resolved when Camila took down the sales, but the very next day, Peaches published a post shedding more light on the situation. Naturally, this didn't reflect well on Camila. She had, after all, decided to monetize the project without Peaches' consent. On top of that, she was reportedly mocking her former friend in a Discord server. As public backlash grew, Peaches deleted her channel and essentially ended her online career. Let's keep going. In 2022, the Vare era began, Camila's collaborator on the second season of Glitch Tale. As the series' success skyrocketed, Vare was exposed for asking girls for photos and having disturbingly inappropriate conversations with some boys, often steering the topic toward intimate matters. A user named Crystal Fame published a conversation with Camila in which he presented himself as a victim and suggested Vare should be removed from the project. Camila, however, brushed it off with a joke and turned a blind eye. To make matters worse, one of Vare's victims wrote to the exposer and claimed that no one was to blame but herself, saying people shouldn't attack the animator. Crystal calmly responded, reassuring her that she was a victim and that he would pursue justice to the end. As more YouTubers raised alarms and called for accountability, the backlash grew intense. Camila went silent for 10 months. Eventually, she released a lengthy response addressing everything that had happened over the year. Unsurprisingly, she shifted the blame onto those involved in the chats, ignoring her own inaction regarding her friend's behavior. On top of that, she brought up the death of a loved one in an attempt to justify herself. And then came the now iconic phrase that effectively destroyed her career.
And again, I'll repeat it for the idiots. You don't deserve an apology for being groomed.
Allan Becker is an American animator, artist, and YouTuber. He was born on May 18, 1989 in Dublin, Ohio, USA, and studied animation at Columbia College, Chicago. Allan Becker rose to fame thanks to his iconic flash animation Animator vs. Animation, first published in 2006 on Newgrounds. In it, a stickman comes to life and starts fighting back against the animator using the computer's interface, like the browser, programs, and even Windows itself, as weapons in the battle. Honestly, I remember seeing those animations as a kid and even sharing them with friends. To us, it felt like watching a high-quality movie or cartoon. Even now, I'm still subscribed to his channel and often catch his shorts where he plays around with current trends. The idea went viral, millions of views during the Flash era, making the project legendary in the world of internet animation. Since 2015, Allan began working on Animator vs. Minecraft, where the stickman and his friends are thrown into the world of Minecraft while still interacting with the Windows interface. The series became a massive hit. Each video consistently pulls in tens of millions of views even today. On top of that, he runs a second channel where he posts animation tutorials, which honestly feels incredible. He's not just making a living on the platform, he's helping others grow and improve their animation skills. Massive respect. While Allan worked solo for a long time, he started building a small team in 2020. He regularly hires other artists and animators, often discovering them among his fans. Some of them were total beginners, and he gave them their very first paid opportunity in the industry. He's also known for creating official animations for Mojang. Personally, I see Allan as an animation icon and a perfect example of how far passion and dedication can take you in this field. Mr. Browza is a Filipino creator whose real name, birth date, and even gender remain undisclosed. The channel launched in 2020 and, to many, felt like a near copy of Teleperte, a topic we actually covered in a previous video, so make sure to check that out. Back to the point, the animations, art style, and even the erotic tone are strikingly similar, following a formula popular among certain animators. The channel description thoughtfully includes a disclaimer, not for kids. Of course, that's there to fend off criticism, especially especially since many creators in this niche have already been called out by commentary channels and moral critics. And it's clear these animations aren't made for children. The content often carries a sexual undertone and in some cases ventures into even weirder territory. But when a creator claims their content isn't for kids, it's strange to see characters like Ben 10 and other childhood icons appear in their videos. Naturally, children will click on those thumbnails, which prominently feature familiar faces, and once they see what actually happens in those animations, it can seriously mess with their minds. We've talked before about how dangerous this is. Producing content like this clearly crosses a line. Freedom of expression ends where another person's rights begin. The creator obviously profits heavily from these videos, especially due to the eye-catching, provocative thumbnails. And honestly, it's hard to ignore what's going on when you're faced with those kinds of images. While Mr. Browza has faced criticism for copying Teleperde's style and for producing overtly adult content, it's only fair to point out the consistent upload schedule and the solid animation quality. The channel feels like a kind of visual diary, showcasing the creator's evolving skill set. I'm not here to outright condemn the creator. After all, many others are doing similar things, but I'd love to know your thoughts. What kind of reputation do you think this creator deserves? Jaden Ditfok, known worldwide as Jaden Animations, was born on September 27, 1997 in Arizona, USA. From a young age, she was passionate about drawing, digital art programs, and YouTube. Her journey into animation started long before launching her own channel. She initially worked behind the scenes for other creators, including animating for iHas Cupquake. It was a quiet beginning, nobody knew her name yet, but even then, her unique style and natural rhythm stood out. She created her own YouTube channel in February 2014. At first, Jaden released short, slightly awkward but heartfelt stories, hand-drawn and narrated in her own voice. She talked about school memories, anxiety, insecurity, perfectionism, and life as an introvert. These topics instantly resonated with viewers. Her minimalist, cartoon-like art style, with a clear personal touch, amplified the honesty and vulnerability in her storytelling. Year after year, she grew as a creator. Her videos became more polished, her storytelling deeper, and her editing sharper. Yet she stayed true to herself. No unnecessary drama, no chasing trends, just authenticity. Jaden Animations quickly rose to fame, and by 2020, her channel had become one of the biggest in the animation community on YouTube. She was featured in YouTube Rewind 2017 and 2018, making history as one of the first animators ever invited to participate. In 2022, Jaden released the video Being Not Straight, where she openly shared that she's aromantic and asexual, meaning she doesn't experience romantic or sexual attraction. It was a bold move, especially with such a large audience, but she didn't dramatize it or hype it up. She just calmly and respectfully spoke her truth. Later, in 2024, she revealed that she had been diagnosed with autism and ADHD. Once again, not for attention, but to help normalize conversations around neurodivergence and mental health. And now, here's the big one. Jaden appeared in MrBeast's 50 YouTubers Fight for $1 million video. She planned to drop out in the very first round, but she made it all the way to the final and won the $1 million prize. Then, she did something incredible. She invested $600,000 into funding art education for as many aspiring artists as possible, and gave the remaining $400,000 to other creators so they could do the same for their own communities. That's not just the journey of a great animator, it's the story of a truly remarkable human being. But what do you think? Meowa! Meowa is a character and Australian gacha tuber active primarily on YouTube Shorts and TikTok. The channel was created on March 29th, 2022, with the first video going live the very next day on March 30th. Her content typically features short animations where the character Meowa speaks in a mix of English and intentionally broken Japanese. She quickly became infamous for deliberately provoking outrage, offending practically every religion, minority group, and even moral guardians online. From the very beginning, she was heavily criticized for her overly sugary voice and for copying the style of another animator, Jelly Bean. In fact, Jelly Bean once asked her audience who Meowa was, only to be flooded with toxic comments, later saying she regretted even bringing it up. Meowa responded by insulting her on Twitter after being blocked. Things only escalated from there. On the first day of Ramadan, Meowa posted a statement declaring she would defeat Allah, an incredibly offensive and inflammatory claim. Unsurprisingly, this sparked a flood of threats threats and backlash from religious users. As if that weren't enough, she also made comments mocking the war in Ukraine, despite most Western audiences standing firmly in support of the country. It didn't stop there. She once encouraged fans to write her name on their hands and send photos in the chat, a stunt that could actually lead to criminal consequences depending on the jurisdiction. Of course, she just laughed it off. One of the most shocking moments? When she listed absurd conditions for being unbanned from her Discord server, which included getting on all fours, drinking milk, saying "I love Meowa," and apologizing. Yep, seriously. She even went after Minecraft legend Technoblade, posting about him after his death, claiming she was against using the deceased for clout, before turning around and doing exactly that. She then created her own religion, which mocked Islam and positioned herself as some kind of divine idol. As one final act of trolling, she deleted all her offensive content and uploaded a sincere apology video, only to immediately call herself a god and demand to be worshipped right after. Classic bait and switch. Looking at the whole picture, it's pretty clear that Meowa is one long-running trolling campaign designed to farm outrage and attention. And guess what? It works. Millions still fall for it, and she continues to pull stable views on TikTok. Honestly, some of her dance trend videos, taken out of context, are actually kind of catchy. But what do you think of this character? Master troll, internet menace, or something in between? The channel Oversimplified is run by animator and YouTuber Stuart Webster. While little is known about his personal life, it's believed that he's an Irish American who, as of 2025, is around 31 to 32 years old. The channel launched sometime between 2016 and 2017 and quickly gained popularity thanks to its unique approach to teaching history. Oversimplified specializes in educational videos covering historical topics, from World War I and II to revolutions, smaller conflicts, mini wars, and biographies like that of Henry VIII. The videos are presented as animated narratives, with the core idea being making complex events easy to understand. His use of humor, fast-paced storytelling, and exaggerated visual style makes history approachable, even for those who've never shown interest in it. Instead of detailed characters, he uses simple stick figures, maps, and memes to break down events, striking a perfect balance between simplified delivery and academic accuracy. A few years ago, Reddit users started asking, what happened to this channel? It's like it vanished. That impression came from the long gaps between uploads. However, between 2024 and 2025, new episodes, including releases on the Punic Wars, proved that the channel is still very much alive, just working at its own pace. In my opinion, creators like this are absolute gold in the content world. Thanks to them, millions of people are able to learn complex subjects in a fun, engaging way, something I could have only dreamed of as a kid. Honestly, if YouTube and creators like these had existed earlier, I might have ended up in a completely different career. Once again, I want to hear from you. What do you think about the creators featured in this video? Do they deserve their reputations, or is it time to take a closer look? Make sure to hit like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.